Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are now watching and listening to Championship Online Podcast. If you're new to the channel, my name is Alex, and this is my co-host, Rich. And today is a very, very special episode here today because we got a wrestler in the house who is killing it right now, who has been seeing him in Championship Wrestling. You may have seen him in All Elite Wrestling. He's also the United Television Champion. He's all the way from Shady Pines. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Banning.
Hi. Thank you for that introduction. Wonderful. Marvelous.
Cool. No, thank you. We're very, very excited to have you on the podcast. Again, how's life for you, Mr. Banning? How's life and how's everything going for yourself?
Well, I'm finally getting what I've worked hard for so many years. A little bit of recognition, a little bit of gold. The institution at United Wrestling, we're on a path. It's a clear path, and we're going straight for our goals. And finally, things are clicking. So things are going great, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. With everything going on with the institution and what you've been able to build off of them, and then it's paid off because you're the champion. What does that mean for you? What does that belt symbolize for you in your career?
It's funny because a long time ago, it would have meant, to me, it would have meant that I was the best wrestler there, and it still means a lot in that it's in my possession, but I know that it wasn't really my hard work that made it pay off. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I got a little bit fed up and I got a little bit sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I started doing things a little bit differently. And it wasn't until I started doing that and started aligning myself with like-minded people and maybe breaking a few rules just to even the playing field did this championship come. Because if a wrestler's accomplishments were measured by how good they actually are, I would have won this a very long time ago.
Mm-hmm. And you winning the title and beating a tough wrestler like Jordan Cruz, what was that thoughts, going into facing a guy like him and beating him for the belt? What were your thoughts on the matchup overall?
Well, I mean, the outcome is exactly what I thought it was going to be. The thing is, leading up to that match, I had kind of been playing with Jordan's mind a little bit. He didn't realize it. Whenever I do that to anyone, they never realize that it's actually mind manipulation is a wonderful thing. And I've actually gotten quite good at it. You see, I made him think that his friend Judiz was getting in his own way. Mm-hmm. And it worked perfectly. So I knew his psyche wasn't where it usually is during big money matches like that. So I had an advantage going into it. When he went to sleep in that guillotine choke, I can feel his heart slowing down, and that was touching. It was a wonderful moment. They raised my hand, and afterwards, Jordan blamed Judiz, which is not something that I completely planned on, but it was a great touch. And I think this championship is going to stay with me for a very long time. So that match meant a lot. That match was wonderful. It was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, absolutely. And then speaking of the group, earlier from the institution, the guys that you recruited, also the females too, Savanna Stone, who you have Honest John, Ren Divine. Tell me about the group and tell me about individual and why they're in the institution with you.
They're great people and they need someone like me. They were just like me. They were honest, hardworking people. They were doing what they were told. They showed up early. They stayed late. They would help put the ring together. They were great on the microphone. They were great on the ring. They were doing everything they were supposed to do. But for one reason or another, they were not looked at as the guys or the girls or the people that they wanted to push. And in the world of combat sports, the better fighter wins the matches, gets the championship opportunities. But for some reason in professional wrestling and in a lot of other sports now, it's bleeding through. There's a lot of politics backstage, and they don't really see some people as championship material or main event material, even though they're some of the best around. And I looked at these people as some of the absolute best around, who weren't getting a fair shake, who were not getting what they deserved, who were not getting the TV time, the matches that they deserved. So, it didn't really take a lot of convincing. I just, went up to him privately and I pleaded my case. There's millions of people just like us who work twice as hard for half as much. And I even saw that in Judiz, and I offered him my hand, and he didn't want it. Pride gets in the way. It's a funny thing. But these guys, they could see the forest through the trees, and they knew that they couldn't get any less and it wouldn't hurt, and I was speaking their language. They remind me a lot of myself. They don't know why they couldn't get to that next level, because they were doing everything they were supposed to do, everything they were always told to do. So I decided to take them under my wing, and they're helping me as much as I help them. It's a phenomenal pairing. We get along famously outside of the show, and I couldn't be happier. So, I mean, John he's like a little ankle biting chihuahua sometimes. He's very, very, very aggressive and very misunderstood. So he took some convincing too. I decided very early on that I wanted him a part of my plans. I felt like I could help him, and he would see eye to eye with what I had envisioned. And it took a little bit of convincing. I had to beat some sense into him a little bit. But he's finally started to pick up what I was putting down, and now he's one of the staples of the institution. Brendan Devine, phenomenal athlete. The amount of muscle this man has packed on over the last few years is insane. What he's squatting and deadlifting in the gym right now, like, he's definitely the muscle of the group. He wasn't always like that, but he put years and years of hard work and dedication into his craft, and he got zero recognition for it. And I'm the only one that noticed. So as soon as I told him that I see what you're doing and you deserve better, he didn't take any convincing at all. He goes, all right, let's do it. And Savanna Stone she's the newcomer. She's the newcomer. She's the one that doesn't really fit the mold of a diva, and I just feel like she could be breaking the backs of the women's division. And she has been, and she absolutely has been, but she's gone through some shady representation. She was talking to Halston Body for a little while, and she was always being managed by someone, and when she didn't have a manager there, she was going in different directions any given day. So she just need a little bit of direction, because the mind is there, the heart is there, the body is willing. So she just need a little bit of guidance. And now, since joining the institution, she's undefeated. So we're doing great.
And as a leader, you're the champion, and taking them under your wing, what do you see the future for your family? What do you see? Do you see, championship belts for your family? Well, like, what do you see, and what are you teaching? What goals are you going towards with your family?
Well, okay. So yes, championships are in the future. I believe the tag team championships are going to be put on Brendan and John as soon as they get an opportunity. And we have the inaugural United World Women's Championship coming up. There's a tournament coming up, and that is Savanna Stone's tournament to win. I can't see anyone else in any of the brackets doing better than she can, especially with the support she has of the institution. Now, with more championships, with more gold comes more power, and we can help more people like us. The commentary and like this weird narrative, and like, the office doesn't like me very much, and I really don't know why. I think it's because I'm helping push the people they don't want to be pushed. But all the way up to places even like WWE, you get people like Roman Reigns and John Cena and generations of people shoved down your throat. Like, that's not the guy the fans want. That's not that's not the best wrestler. That's who the company wants to push because they find them to be more marketable, right? And people clamor for other people to have a chance, and that's what we're doing. People look at Jordan Cruz, very good looking guy, very marketable, chiseled out of stone. The sponsors love that guy. They absolutely loved him, and someone like me never would have got a chance. You know what I mean? So with more gold comes more power. And when we're the ones holding the power and all the gold, then we can offer those opportunities to the real deserving ones, the ones who worked really hard for it. It's really altruistic when you look at it from a broad perspective, what we're really trying to do. And for people like Drew Diz, who deserve an opportunity like that, and to spit in my face and immediately lose his championship opportunity because of it, it just goes to show what happens when you cross the picket line. It's in your best interest to agree with us and just let us do our thing, because I'm also sick of waiting. It's time for us. If you're not with us, you're against us. If you're not part of the solution, you're a part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. And then especially, the institution of family is growing. Do you see any new people join the institution? Are you still recruiting, or is this permanent? This is the family.
Everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome. I'm looking all the time, but there's just not too many people willing to risk what they have. There's a lot of people that are complacent. They love security. They're like, you know what? No, I have my matches. I make my purse. It's enough to get by. It's not a lot. And really, the promoters are the ones raking in all the money. And we're the ones getting beat up, breaking our faces, and blood, sweat, tears, all the cliches. We're the ones getting put through it. And the people in the office, the people who don't have to get in the ring at all, they're making most of the money. And I'm crazy for saying that's not fair, but if I am a little bit suggesting that we bite the hand that feeds us, okay, because we deserve a bigger share. I think everyone does. But some people are just too scared to take that leap. So everyone's welcome in the institution. Not very many people are willing to cross that line and join us, though. It is what it is. It takes a different breed of people.
And I was going to ask that, what do you look into when you're recruiting? What do you see? What are you looking for in a wrestler to join an institution?
You just got to have guts. Because everyone wants the same thing, right? We want the full value of what our labor produces. A lot of people out there working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and still can't, buy a house, or they're barely scraping by. Some people have 2 jobs. Some people have 3 jobs. And I'm willing to recruit anyone who says enough is enough and actually put their money where their mouth is and actually take some action. This is a revolution. And with the television championship, the revolution will be televised. And I know that's another cliche. This business is full of tropes, and I'm going to utilize every single one I can because people listen to them. Because again, they're familiar. People love familiarity. It makes them comfortable.
Absolutely. And, and one thing I wanted to switch subjects, and, I want to ask, I want to get the early stages of Jack Banny. How did you first see wrestling? How'd you first get introduced to pro wrestling? What made you a fan of it?
Professional wrestling for me was just when I was a kid, it was just what all the cool kids were watching. It was the 90s. It was the Attitude Era. Everyone was watching it, and I wanted to know what everyone was talking about on the playground during recess. So I tuned in, and it was amazing. The pageantry, the fireworks, the glamour, the championships, the everything, the drama, everything about it. I absolutely loved it. And I said, I wanted my name in lights. I want fame. I want fortune. I want to be a professional wrestler. So I pursued it. When I was about 19, I signed up for a school in Hayward, California, and I went there for several years until the owner died. And I wanted so badly to be, I wanted to headline WrestleMania. I wanted everything. And then when the more time you spend in the business, the more you realize that the backstage politics and the snakes in the locker room and are factors at all, let alone some of the biggest factors that can control your career. And the fans too. The fans, I think wrestling fans are some of the worst people on the planet. They want to be involved so bad that they scream during shows, and they want to be behind the curtain. They want to know the reasons behind why someone they was chosen to win something. I think fans are the absolute worst. When the pandemic was going on, I actually thrived in empty arena buildings in those shows. That's actually where I really made my mark. But and then as soon as they came back, they just started getting under my skin again. So fans' opinions, things like that, you spend time in the business, you realize those are a factor. And then, my dreams kind of started to get crushed a little bit. I was like, but I'm wrestling circles around all these people. How come, someone who's been in the business for years and years less than me, why are they getting the spots that I've worked hard for? Well, because they got the look. I would be told arbitrary things like they have it. Like, okay, they have the look, they have it, but I could beat the living crap out of them right now. Does that matter to anybody? No. The answer was no. And I went into some pretty dark places, and it drove me insane. It just about drove me insane to the point where Shady Pines is where I got to call home for a little while. And when they let me out, I knew I had to take a different approach. So when I went to the United Wrestling Network, the first thing I did was I cracked Jordan Clearwater in the back of the head with the Heritage title. And I think that was the best decision I ever made. So what got me into professional wrestling is not what keeps me here. What got me into professional wrestling was fame and fortune, or the pursuit of that anyway. Now that's so superficial. What keeps me here is pretty much, I got to let everyone know that life isn't all sunshine and roses. Sometimes the hero doesn't get the girl. Sometimes you lose. That's it. And if some people don't believe that bad things can happen just because bad things haven't happened to them, well, then teach them empathy. I will become those bad things, and I will happen to them. And the world will be a better place because of it.
But also saying, like you said, as soon as, after you're checking with Shady Pines and then you go after Cruz, did you feel that was a life-altering thing, going to Shady Pines, like kind of now changing your mindset in professional wrestling? Like, how much did that change you?
It was very eye-opening to know that I knew what I was talking about, to know for a fact that I was locked up kind of under false pretenses. They told me that I was a danger to myself and to others around me because I started to just lose it, to kind of snap. I was going a little bit too far in my matches. People were getting pretty hurt. And the things I would start to say, I think people felt threatened by them because they were too true. Like when I say that the promoters make more money and they don't have to get in the ring, like all of us, we're all professional wrestlers. We can just run our own shows. We don't really need a promoter. We can actually all just attack him and take all the money in his wallet too. It's pretty crazy. Like I don't know why we're so dependent on them when we're the ones producing all of the work. You know what I mean? People want to watch wrestling. They don't want to watch promoting. They want to watch wrestling. So it's very, very, very eye-opening. My stay in Shady Pines was extremely eye-opening. I was being gaslit 24/7 into thinking that what I thought wasn't true. And it was It was very frustrating at times. They tried to make me take this medication. I just hid it under my tongue and spit it out later. I never took it. And on the way out, when no one was looking, the second they took my handcuffs off, I actually choked out my interviewer. Yeah, my psychiatrist. I choked him out. And just kind of like to teach him a lesson. Hopefully when he woke up, I wasn't there when he woke up, but hopefully when he woke up, he realized he was wrong. I'm not sure. I never went back there. But yeah, it was a weird life experience. Yeah, I know exactly how to not end up there anymore. That's for sure.
Oh. Like you said, it's almost like a life-changing and eye-opening thing. It almost looks like it almost benefited you.
An epiphany. Yes, it was. I had quite an epiphany in there. And the second I got out, I decided to ignore every piece of advice I've ever gotten. And I immediately won the television championship. So I think I'm going to go with my gut from now on.
I mean, it worked indeed. And like you said, you're the champion. You have an amazing family now. And even now, Alex and I hearing this, like you said, sometimes life isn't fair and you got to grab the bulls by the horn, but you literally did and made your mark and created your own pathway. But now, like I said, once you're on top of the mountain, all eyes on you. Do you feel that there's, like you said, this wrestling game, there's a lot of jealousy and there's a lot of eyes on you? Do you feel now that there's a target on you with all your fellow competitors?
Yeah. But the target isn't, it's metaphorical. The target's a paycheck. People want this because they want the money. They're like, oh, I want my name on the marquee. I want to be on the flyer. I want to have the big money matches. I want to, they want the money. They don't actually want to beat me up. They don't care about me. They only care about themselves. And yeah, the target is money motivated because that's how people think. It's disgusting. That's all people care about. So yeah, I do have a target, but it's not a target that I would personally go after. It's not a target that I was aiming at when I won this championship. The target is right here with you guys. My target was more reach. Now that I have this championship and I'm on a television show, I'm getting approached to do more podcasts. Now I get to tell the world on more platforms what I'm all about. That's really, and that way I can recruit more people to the institution. I can have more people realize that there are people out there that think just like they do and that they're not alone. The paycheck, it doesn't hurt. It's nice. I can definitely see why people would want to hurt me for it. It's a big carrot that they dangle over people. It's a risk I'm more than willing to take for as long as I can.
No, very well said. I mean, even you said earlier also that not the best relationship with the fans when they're in the audience, they're watching you, but how's the vibe when you walk backstage or passing by your fellow competitors in the locker room? How do you feel, them just looking at you and observing you? What's that vibe back there?
I tend to stay in my own little corner. I've never liked. I've never tried to make any friends really in wrestling, and I think that's really where I've been held back, mostly because I spent most of my time becoming the best wrestler I could, and then years into the business, I get told another arbitrary trope. Oh, it's who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Oh, so if I was a crap wrestler with a bunch of friends, I have a bigger paycheck and a better job? The answer is yes.
Oh, yeah.
So that, yeah, I never really made any friends in wrestling, and that's my bad because now here I am, one of the best in the world, over a decade in the business, the best kept secret or whatever you want to call it. Like I'm just one of those guys. If I'm relegated to being a journeyman, someone who's wrestled the most famous people in the world on their way to the top, I don't know if that's going to satisfy me. I think maybe I just take them out so they never make it to the top. That's not a bad idea. Because I don't think there's jealousy directed towards me backstage. I think that because of how I got this championship, when I took, when I started trusting myself, ignoring all the advice. See, I won this championship by ignoring the same advice that they were given. So there's a lot of why him, almost like I was chosen to be champion instead of actually choking out the champion to become the champion. It's a weird vibe backstage, man. People are weird. Social aspects are really, really, really cringy. It's good people watching though.
Do you almost sense
really
fear?
Good people watching people oily in the pan. What was that?
Do you almost sense fear from your competitors?
I don't really get close enough to them to sense fear. I could smell it a little bit when I'm in the ring across from someone. If they don't have a little bit of fear, a little bit of trepidation, then they're doing themselves a disservice. Again, pride really gets in the way of a lot of grown men and people who say, I'm not scared of anyone. They end up getting choked out within an inch of their life. And, it's okay to be scared. That doesn't make you less of a man. It's okay to be nervous. I think, a little bit of nerves before a match means you care. I get butterflies before every match. If you're not a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, then you don't care. So if people aren't scared of me, then they don't care about me, which means I have to make them care about me, which means I have to make them fear me. And there's a lot of angles to it. It's like an entire woven spider web of angles and different ways to go about things. Like, again, people are weird. This should be more straightforward. Let's all fight. May the best fighter win. Better fighter is champion. It should be more straightforward, but it's not. It's not, and it drives me crazy.
Exactly. I mean, I could see that from people. I mean, like you said, you always feel like you almost follow a blueprint or a map, and you, like you said, you broke your own barriers, and now you're the champion. Do you feel that people are going to almost try to copy your blueprint, how you climb to the top?
I hope they do. I one person's success is not my failure. I could always disagree with how they go about things, but if someone wants to walk in my shoes and take their life into their own hands and start making decisions that go against the grain, that bother some people, that goes against the status quo in order to get what they deserve, what they've worked for, that's great. That's amazing. I wish everyone would do that. The world would be a much better place, much more fair.
So, exactly. I mean, like you said, also, what kind of satisfaction do you get? Like you said, promoters always looks like they choose their golden boy, like that guy that you said earlier has it, and you kind of ruining that parade for them and bashing him in the head and winning the championship. What do you get out of that? What's the feeling when you see the promoter backstage kind of putting his head down and you walk in with the championship?
It's euphoric because they don't want me to be the guy, but I am the guy, because it was undeniable. No matter the how much they stack the deck against me, referees are in their pockets. But you just have to make it undeniable. You have to make it irrefutable beyond a shadow of a doubt. I had my guys, at ringside. We devised a plan. It went perfectly. Referees can't do shoddy counts, worked cadences. They can't do slow counts or fast counts. When I choke a man out, if he's limp, if his body's limp and he's not moving, it's over. They have absolutely no choice but to award me the championship. And they were so pissed off, and it was amazing. And I knew that was going to happen. And I knew they were going to do everything they could to take the championship from me. So a lot of people think I'm not doing things correctly, but in order to keep this championship on me, I have to be squeaky clean. I have to do everything pretty much by the book, but the book, just like the tax code, there's a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of loopholes. So I'm not actually doing anything wrong. by the book, but I am doing things that promoters would prefer I not do, which is not my issue. Their personal preference has nothing to do with me or the bearing on how I retain my championship or how I spread my message. They don't have to like it. They honestly don't. I'm over trying to make people like me. When they got their head in their hands, like every single time I defend my championship, it's like their face gets more and more red, especially Johnny LaQuasto. He hates me. He hates me, but he has nothing on me.
Exactly. Wow. I mean, I really do admire. It's genius. Like you said, you're thinking 2 steps ahead. You don't want the shady business of the referees and doing a fast count or anything shady. So either go for the kill, go for a knockout, or choke them out. Now there's no excuses, and you very well did indeed that. And also benefiting now that beef between Judiz and Cruz. I mean, going from there, what do you see next for you and your family? I mean, I don't see anything. Pretty much, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I don't see anything stopping us. Again, there's a women's championship tournament to crown the inaugural United World Women's Champion, and that's going to be Savanna Stone. Right now, the tag team championships in United Wrestling Network, that's held by TMDK with Che Cabrera. So it's the Wolves Addies and TMDK kind of fused. They're doing Freebird rules with those titles right now, and they're called TMZ. Which those are great guys. Those are great guys, and it's eventually the institution is going to get a tag team championship opportunity. They're trying to keep us away from everything we can, so we're going to have to play things by ear. But eventually, they're going to have no choice but to put the institution in the tag team championship picture. And if the champions are still TMZ, it's just going to be unfortunate what we're going to have to do to them, because they're big, strong dudes, and they're really respectable, and they're going to do everything they can to retain their championship. So like the pain that we're going to have to inflict on them if they're the champions when Brendan and John's time come up, it is going to be unfortunate. It is. But like I said, I haven't really made any friends in the locker room. There are people I prefer more than others. I prefer TMZ more than others, but the head nod in the hallway might turn into a middle finger if we ever have a match with them. But that's what I see. I see more championships, more members, more power, more reach, more television shows. The United Wrestling Network has 1 television champion and 3 television shows. They're doing it again. They brought the world champion Danny Limelight out to Derby City on the inaugural episode. There's absolutely no reason I should not have been on that airplane with him, but I know why. They're, it's like they're creating a whole new TV show to steer clear from me and what I'm doing at Championship Wrestling in California. It's a pretty lengthy thing to go to just to spite me, but I'll make it there. More of everything until the entire landscape of professional wrestling changes.
And then as talking about, that you're money motivated, especially earlier I mentioned that you were All Elite Wrestling. Is that the goal for you? Is that the goal to come back? And is that the goal to, where you permanently will like to stay at All Elite?
Who wouldn't? I mean, I got into this business like everyone else, motivated by money and fame and everything. But now I believe the goal is to sign that big money contract just to be on national television every week. More viewers, more eyes, even more reach than that. My time at All Elite Wrestling was amazing, though very brief. I know AEW Dark and Dark Elevation just got canceled, unfortunately. I know there might be some opportunities in Ring of Honor and Tony Khan's Ring of Honor. I'm open to absolutely anything and everything, because the more platforms I have, the more eyes, the more ears, The broader reach. It's like the bigger megaphone I have, the bigger podium, soapbox, more State of the Union addresses. I need to tell people. I need to tell them who I am and how this really works. Right. And I believe All Elite Wrestling, Ring of Honor, anything like that would be the goal for anybody, for any reason, in any capacity in this business.
You know, and as television champion, you know, who's in the list that you'd like to, you know, you haven't had a match yet? Is there a list of guys that you'd like to face in the future in the ring?
Yes, people who deserve it. So Papo Esco, he lost his television championship to Jordan Cruz, and he never got his rematch for it. It's like the committee's just ignoring him. Why? I don't know. Did he all of a sudden become unmarketable? Is it because they put a championship on another member of the bodega? Is there some weird political reason why he's not getting his rematch? I don't know. So absolutely Papo Esco. Another one is Levi Shapiro. Levi Shapiro lost his championship to Papo Esco over a year ago. He never got his rematch for that title again. Like he got his nose broken and had surgery, and it's like he's getting punished for that. Like his place on the totem pole, all of his accomplishments before his nose surgery, before losing the title, were didn't exist, right? I feel like Levi Shapiro is getting ignored. So I want to wrestle Levi Shapiro for my championship. There's plenty of people I want that deserve a shot at this championship, and there's also plenty of people that don't. When I was put in a match with Willie Mack, he's flown all over the world. He's held so many championships. He's been in, you know, Impact and Lucha Underground, and he's wrestled for Ring of Honor and All Elite Wrestling, and he did not beat anybody to become the number one contender to my championship, but he was my first title defense because they were scared and they wanted someone big and bad to take it off of me. But I had some sort of angel watching over me that day, and that championship is still with me. So yeah, there's a list of people I want to wrestle, and there's a list of people that I hope I never, ever have to give the pleasure of wrestling me ever again.
Awesome. And to finish, you know, with the last question, you have a message to the fans out there, the supporters, you know, anyone you'd like to say anything to them?
Yes. I know there are wrestling fans out there that are not the most popular kid in school. They get picked on. And they get shut out. They feel like a loser. And all they want to do is fit in. And they keep searching for a way to fit in, to be liked, to be popular. I want you to know that you are not alone. And I encourage you to not try to fit in, not with people who won't have you. No, instead, just follow your heart, follow your gut, do things your way. And if you see something happening that you don't find fair, make it fair.
All right. Awesome. Again, Jack, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Really appreciate your time and being on here. And, you know, before we sign off, is there anything you'd like to plug in? Anything else? Usually time to plug in social media. Is there anything you'd like to plug in?
So my Twitter and my Instagram are both at It's Jack Banning. Follow me there for any life advice or updates on what I'm doing with my championship. The United Wrestling Network, follow them. Our shows drop on YouTube every single week. So if you want to see who I choke out next, you're definitely going to want to check that out. And I think that's about it. Follow Savanna Stone, Honest John, and Brendan Devine on Twitter and Instagram as well. And just follow the institution, see what we're going to do next. Don't follow the status quo and eat the rich.
Awesome. Again, I will put everything down in the description down below where you can follow them on social media and support them. And thank you again, Jack, for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much. And again, that's going to do it us for here on Championship Online Podcast. We'll see you guys next time.